there. Making last minute touches on the video. Can you all hear me? Okay, good. If you're just joining us, welcome to On the Inside with James O'Keefe every Wednesday at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. We're a little late there because we were exporting the final cut of the next installment of the Border series exposing the migrant facility, secret migrant facilities, things you've never seen, places you've never heard of. And we're going to go ahead and get right to it. And we have some guests that are joining us here, some Border Patrol insiders joining us here live on the program as usual. But first, before we're just posting the video on YouTube right now and on X right now. It's taking about 20 minutes to upload, and you'll have it probably in the next 15 minutes. But before that, I want to talk about Mark Cuban for a minute. And I think we have, and I'm pretty sure we have Wee Woo on with us. Is that right, team? Let me just go to this here and see if we have Wee Woo. For those of you who have not seen the video, Wee Woo was brought up to Mark Cuban, and I think he's going to be joining us, or she's going to be joining us in the DMs. And let's see if she's brave enough to join us. Give me 1 minute. Is it Wei Woo or Wee Woo? I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce this. Wee Woo, are you there? And we're waiting for Wei Woo to join. I don't know if it's Wee Woo or Wei Woo. I'm ready. Okay. So let's see if Wee Woo can join in with the voice distortion feature, or can she comment here in the DMs? We're waiting for you. Let's talk a little about this Mark Cuban video. This was recorded in the gym.
It's James O'Keefe. Very good. Will you hire Wei Woo? What? Like Mark Wei Woo? That shit is ridiculous.
That shit is ridiculous, said Mark Cuban.
In every one of my threads.
She, Wei Woo, is in every single one of my threads. He's talking about blocking Wei Woo because she's commenting on X with back and forth with Mark Cuban.
Every time I post anything, she posts something ridiculous. Go right after that.
Now, what's interesting about this video is that Mark Cuban is saying that I lied out my ass about Pfizer. You know, I don't know, what I failed to ask Cuban is, why is he an investor in Pfizer? I'm not sure why he's obsessed with this Pfizer clip.
Pfizer, only a moron is DEI has to do with quotas.
Only an effing moron says that DEI has to do with quotas, when the IBM official actually said that you must hire a certain percentage of African Americans. You can't have too many Asians or we'll fire you. That's what the CEO of IBM said.
How am I? You're a pussy.
Now, if you haven't seen it, what's interesting about this video is that, you know, this is a Lifetime Fitness in Texas. I usually, when I go to these fitness classes, they're usually pretty active and it's pretty arduous. But this was like kind of sliding my foot to the right. It was like a jazzercise class. There's me walking over to Cuban. Now, he did not recognize me, which I found to be interesting because I was working out right alongside him the whole time. I don't know how we activate Wee Woo. Sorry, guys, technical difficulties trying to get Wee Woo involved. Wee Woo, is that how you pronounce it? Wee Woo? I don't know. Wei Woo. You can comment directly in the Spaces room, Wei Woo, on the bottom right. You can also use the voice actor. We really want to hear from you. She says, I'm Chinese. I bring clear thinking to white people in the West. Okay, this okay. I prepare speech. I'm here. And this is me reading with Wee Woo. I bring much wisdom to people. I'm ready. Send question now. I prepare answer. Make podcast more smooth. I don't know. The world is waiting on you, Wee Woo. So how do we get you to chime in? Mario, maybe Mario's team can help us send an invitation to Wee Woo while we play this video.
How you doing? Good, how are you? It's James O.P. Very good. Traffic was in the same ship. Yeah. Hey, I gotta guess, why did you say that I edited the video? God, I'm not playing one, but still right.
So he says. So Mark Cuban said that I edited the videos there in the video. He says I edited the videos.
Yeah.
He says, quote, and do you really think a James O'Keefe edited video is an objective representation of reality? We're not sure what he means by that. We're not sure what he means by that edited objective. They always say that I edit tapes, but they can never point out a specific edit. They go back to the Pimp video from 2009. We're unclear about that. We will post Wei Wu's comments in here because I think her DMs are closed. Let's see here. Has closed DMs.
Why did you say that I edited the video? God, I'm not wearing one, but still right out your ass about Pfizer.
Lied out your ass about Pfizer.
You said I'm an ass? No, I said lied out your ass about Pfizer. How do I lie out my ass? When you went to
went to ACAP, Mark Cuban says. Does he mean CPAC? ACAP? When you went to ACAP or whatever it was.
He said Pfizer was a bad company and they were essentially changing, trying to mutate the virus.
They were essentially changing or trying to mutate the virus. Mark Cuban. It's always interesting, we don't characterize what people say, we quote them. We don't even quote them. We assimilate into them and we show videos of them talking. And people are always trying to debate facts in this country. Really just quoting the Pfizer executive here, Jordan Walker.
Yeah, that's what I said. No, you said they were meaning about it. You said they were mutating. You said they were discussing the possibility of it. You different.
Pfizer ultimately is thinking about mutating COVID?
Well, that is not what we say to the public. No, don't tell anyone this.
Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody.
We're exploring, no, you know the virus keeps mutating?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things we're exploring is, why don't we just mutate it on its own? So we can talk about create uncompletely bulletproof vaccines, right? So we have to do that. If we're going to do that, though, there's a risk of, as you could imagine, no one wants to be having a pharma company mutating viruses. You don't think the public has the right to know what it is? Yeah, you showed the video.
Okay, so you showed the video. That's great, says Mark Cuban. So what's the debate over? By the way, Wee Woo, I guess Wee Woo's not going to chime in. She's going to type, and I'm going to read her statements. That's fine.
Yeah, lied about it, everybody. How did I lie? I just told you. You said that he said that, and you said.
So Mark Cuban saying that I said that he said that he's mutating the virus. And then Mark Cuban apologizes to me privately. For those of you who are just tuning in, I'm talking about the Mark Cuban interaction I had in the gym. We got Wee Woo on the line. Wee Woo, Wee Woo. And we're at the part where he's talking about Pfizer, saying I lied. But I was wrong. I said, are you going to apologize publicly now? He said, I did apologize publicly. I stand corrected. Mark Cuban did say that. This is about the IBM story. He said that I didn't say it was from 2021, but he did apologize. Also, there we go. Wee Woo. Okay, so Wee Woo, if you're here, could you just tell us what your reaction is to this piece? What's your reaction, Wee Woo? I guess I'm going to have to read your reaction live. What does Wee Woo have to say? I guess we'll wait for her to chime in here. What do you have to say about Mark Cuban not being willing to hire you? Why did you block Weewoo? Mark Cuban says, that shit is ridiculous. She's been in every one of my threads. Every time I post anything, she posts something ridiculous. But what's ridiculous about this, I guess, is the question. What exactly do you think is ridiculous? Weewoo, we're waiting on you. Let's watch the rest of this video. And I'll read Weewoo's reaction live. DEI has nothing to do with quotas, says Mark Cuban. Okay, we have a reaction from, this is a long reaction. In most inspired, I'm going to read this without the accent. In most inspired join Maverick, why my contract $15 million? I be 15 million, very quick, easy money. I like real reason, my chance for NBA player very low. I push hypocrite Mark Cuban very hard. Okay, so it goes on.
I'm not trying to finesse this. So for blacks, we should try to get towards 13 point something %. On Hispanics, you got to get into the mid-teens. On gender, okay, we're somewhere in the mid-30s, I think.
By the way, if you guys have speaker requests, please post them. We're going to get to the new video here in a minute. Hey, El, how we doing with that video? We close to export? We're going to be launching a brand new video, guys, on the border momentarily, and we're going to go over that. We're just finishing the Mark Cuban recap. And Mark Cuban, if you're listening, I'd like to talk to you. I'd like to debate you. You called me a, quote, pussy. I don't know why I'm the pussy. I showed up to ask you tough questions. You're a billionaire, and a lot of people are afraid to ask you tough questions.
For all of IBM, but... Okay, so, all right.
Now, then the security guard, Brandon, I guess he's the trainer, comes over and gets involved, a very aggressive guy. He says, where's my camera? And a lot of people in the comments saying, well, you know, why didn't you just tell him where your camera is? Why didn't you answer Mark Cuban's question? And honestly, like, because he would have confiscated my footage and deleted it, as they did with the iPhone from the bystander filming with the iPhone. Are you recording me? Are you recording me? Why did I not tell him that? First of all, I said I record all the time, but that's really why I didn't tell him, because I didn't want to confiscate that camera. They grabbed the shirt of this kid who was recording, brought him into the fitness room, humiliated him in front of everybody, basically assaulted him. It's basically a crime. And then they put his eyes up to the iPhone and held him by the shirt and made him delete the footage, and then deleted the footage off of the other screen where it's in the kind of the bin after you delete it. So that's why I didn't tell Mark Cuban where the hidden camera was. We got hidden cameras in everything, okay? I've never seen this reaction. Usually it's A, it's they call the police, B, they run away, or C, they have a seizure on the floor. But Mark Cuban came up with a new option here. He started saying, where's your camera, where's your camera, like freaking out that his conversation is being recorded. I think that's very revealing. And honestly, that's because we have insiders. Speaking of insiders, everyone, could you please retweet this space right away? We're going to be bringing up some very interesting speakers, and I'm going to bring up the first one while we wait for the new piece. Any moment now, we're launching part 3 on the border. It's an unbelievable piece. Guys, who we got up next? Who's our next guest? Who's our first guest? Nogales. Tom inside the Border Patrol. Can we queue up Tom? Are you there?
I am here.
Tom, you're live with On the Inside with James O'Keefe. We're about to launch part 3, which I'm going to get your reaction to. But could you tell the world who you are? You worked for the Border Patrol. You were inspired to come out after what we launched last week. So tell everyone who you are.
Yeah, I was a Border Patrol agent. I just recently retired. I could have stayed in the agency for much longer, but I could no longer, in good conscience, continue working as a cog in the wheel for the smuggling operation. So I retired early and got out, and I'm here to tell you really what's going on and what's happening.
So if you're just joining the space, You're hearing from Tom, Border Patrol agent. He's coming public for the public's right to know. So tell the world in about, I know this is a lot to ask, but in about 60 seconds, what you want them to know about the crisis on the border, what's happening in this country.
Well, it's even worse than people think. There's actually a lot of fraud with the Department of Homeland Security not reporting the numbers to Congress like they're congressionally mandated to. They're actually flubbing those numbers.
What's the fraud?
So,
tell us about what the fraud is.
So when Border Patrol agents apprehend migrants coming across the border, they're supposed to be put into a system, and Secretary Mayorkas put out CBP-1 that allows people to basically get a fast pass. And I don't know if they're still doing it because I'm retired now. I don't know if they changed it, but while I was still in, everybody that was coming across with the CBP-1 app, they weren't being put into the Border Patrol system. So all of those apps, gotaways, and turnback numbers that are congressionally mandated, they're actually wrong because the CBP-1 app that they implemented allowed a whole stream of people to come in that weren't counted.
And what's the solution to the problem?
So basically, I don't see any real solution without change in Washington. The guys on the ground that are doing their job every day, they're not violating the law. And as much as we want them to, stop the migrants from coming, that's not their job. They're law enforcement. The law is being broken when the people cross. So as law enforcement, they have to arrest the people who broke the law. As far as stopping them from coming in the first place, that's got to come from Washington.
Now, Tom, you're not currently in the border. You just left?
Yeah, I just recently retired, which is the only reason I'm able to freely speak about all of this stuff.
Why can't Border Patrol agents? Why can't Border Patrol agents freely speak while they're working there?
Because they'll be retaliated against. You're going to lose your job, your livelihood. It's terrible the way that the process is set up to be able to blow the whistle for all the stuff that's going on. They won't listen to us. So now that I'm out, I can freely speak.
I mean, will they retaliate against all of you? Because the last Border Patrol insider we spoke to, did you hear the last week what he said? He bravely came on as a Border Patrol agent with his voice disguised. He said something like 90% plus people agree with him inside the Border Patrol.
Oh, yeah, I would say at least that much. And, he's very brave even to come out with his voice disguised. Because while working for the agency, to be able to come out and tell people what's really going on is a huge no-no. I was a lead steward in the union, and even I couldn't come out on behalf of our union and say things. So it's really just.
But Tom, I mean, let me push back gently, and I speaking on behalf of basically what everyone feels, or not everyone, but many people feel. If 99% of Border Patrol agents, or 90% of all feel this is atrocious, couldn't they all speak out in numbers? Couldn't they all go public as a group, as a unionized, kind of organized fashion?
So our union leaders do come out, but the union leaders don't allow every member of the union, and it is against our policy for us to. Look at what happened when we tried to talk about when AOC came down to the border. We got guys fired for even posting memes about AOC visiting the border, let alone telling people what's really happening behind the scenes. It would be just slaughter as far as like everybody getting fired. Like, we can't come out and say anything.
I mean, I hear you. I mean, I think I do understand. At what point, it seems like a lot of the Border Patrol agents that we're talking to are kind of participating in evil, or they feel like they're participating in evil. So as a Border Patrol agent recently retired, and you live in New York State, at what point does it become Border Patrol agents actively participating in evil?
I think that they are participating in evil. The way I always compare it is, the guy that was just guarding a fence post in Germany didn't feel like he was doing anything atrocious, but he was one part of the cog in the wheel for the Nazi regime. And then they always say, well, I was just doing my job. I'm not comparing Border Patrol agents to Nazis directly, but what I'm saying is you can't just fall back on, oh, I was just doing my job. If you know that this administration is turning our agency into a giant smuggling operation, you have to stand up you have to do the right thing. And we've done things like, we call it the green flu, where we call in sick, and, we've tried to push back, but there's only so much you can do.
Well, one solution might be organizing together. If the Border Patrol agents are listening to this, you can contact OMG and James O'Keefe on the hotline, the signal line 914-315-9415. I've spoken to some Border Patrol agents and National Guardsmen in the last couple days. I've been on the road. More on that soon. We are now live on X, ladies and gentlemen. We have just broken our news story. Tom, stay with us. We've just broken our news story. This is the Elitas facility at 1150 West Drexler in Tucson, as well as Elitas Angels in Nogales in the border of Mexico and Arizona. Just broken our brand new video. We're going to go to it, and we're going to take you through that. Just real quick before we go through this new video. Nick Shirley, are you on? Nick.
Yes, I am right here.
Now, you're really a brave young man. You actually did something that I thought was extraordinary. You walked right into a facility in New York City with a reflecting vest on. Could you just tell everyone what you did?
Yeah, so I tracked down illegal immigrants in New York City. I went down there to New York to see what happens with the people after they cross the border. I went to the border, and I met a lady. I gave her my WhatsApp, and she told me she was transferred to New York City. So I tracked her down, and then I went to some of these migrant shelters, and I wanted to see what was actually going on inside this migrant shelter. So I put on a construction vest, and I walked right in and started videotaping and seeing what was actually going on.
And I mean, that took some brass balls. This is for those of you watching. It's a young guy. He runs in there with the reflecting vest on. I mean, I mean, was that trespassing, or how does that work?
I mean, I have no idea. I mean, the illegals are entering into the building, so I guess I should be allowed to enter in as well, right?
Yeah. And is this the first time you ever done anything like that?
I've snuck into a lot of events as a YouTuber, but now I'm getting into this journalism stuff, so I really wanted to see what was going on and see how what's happening here in America.
This is 1843. You sneaking into the migrant shelter, and let me just play this for everyone so they can hear this. Nick, one tip is put the sneaking part up front and then play the rest of your video, because it's 18 minutes into your video.
Cool, it's done.
Now this is you walking into the facility. You're wearing a reflecting vest in New York City, sneaking in there?
Yes. Walking in, they just let me right through.
Did at any point they kick you out, or did you get found out? Did you get discovered?
Yeah, so as I was videotaping going around, it was super, like right as I walked in there, I had a really ill feeling. And people, I didn't know really what was going on. It was kind of dim lit inside of there, and I started walking around, seeing what's going on. All the rooms, they had the rooms labeled off in the numbers. They had all these people going.
Where is this in New York City? Where did you sneak in?
This is on 185th Street.
Is it just where? Is that northern Manhattan?
It's southern, I believe.
185th Street would be in Brooklyn, or it would be in Harlem, one or the other.
Yeah, it was right next to the Brooklyn Bridge.
Okay.
So it's Manhattan.
Here, this is where everyone's coming in. I'll get in the process right now.
Did they think you were Spanish? I mean, you look pretty white in there. You look like a sore thumb, but they thought you were a construction worker.
Yeah, so I just had the construction vest on, and I just said I was doing some checkups.
So I'm in here right now, in here. They got everyone, looks like they have everyone labeled off in the numbers. How's it going, man?
Your heart must have been pounding out of your chest.
Yeah, and then you'll see right there in that part of the video, the guy said, I say, "What's up, man?" He starts talking to me. He's like, "Are you filming?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm just doing a checkup."
Was your camera visible? Were you holding out your iPhone in this migrant shelter?
Yeah, it's just my iPhone. And so he saw my camera, and he asked me if I was filming, and I said, "Yeah, I'm just doing a checkup." And I could tell he got offended and stood up and started telling
What do you say about sneaking into more of these places and me giving you some proper hidden cameras?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. You're live on the inside with James O'Keefe We're recruiting citizen journalists live and getting them and empowering them. Nick, just remember that 38 states it's legal, in 12 states it's illegal to record in one-party consent situations. What is this scene of this fight at the door when you're sneaking into the shelter? What is that about?
Yeah, so that's some footage I got from the immigrants from inside. As I was leaving, I met them. There was a little scuffle going on up front, and I was just trying to get out. And so I met some of the immigrants after, and I got their phone numbers, and they sent me the videos so I could use them for my video.
All right, thank you, Nick. Stand by, because I might come back to you. We have a breaking story, everyone, that I want to get to in a minute. It's live on X. You can go to my account there. It says, "I'm your father. O'Keefe Media exposes secret elitist facility." Hey, Nick, you probably should sneak into that one in Arizona. Nick, you got to come on a trip with me. We're going to go sneak into some other facilities in Texas and Arizona.
Let's do it.
How does that sound? Are you game for that?
Sounds amazing.
I've learned, everyone, that the best way to assess people is to look at what they do. Not what they say, but what they do. We have a guest here. Marauder Magazine has some questions for Tom. Tom, are you still on with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Tom, everyone, is the Border Patrol agent who's come out. And Marauder, if you can unmute yourself and ask questions for Tom, our Border Patrol agent recently retired.
Hey, James. Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me. Tom, I'm a former civil affairs specialist in the United States Army, and one of the things that we did was populace and resources control. So we kind of handled similar situations with migrants and the flow of caravans of people. And I just wanted to ask you, first off, I wanted to ask, when you dealt with people, would you ever, and they came in caravans and troves of giant waves, were they ever somewhat, I know they're all wearing different clothing, but did they ever have something kind of distinct and kind of marked on their bodies? Maybe they have divisions where they're all wearing the same jewelry, or they all have the same tattoos, or I don't know, maybe they have like a single matching color of hair extension.
Well, I'm sure, as you've probably seen by now, the wristband thing, but the wristbands were given by the cartel, so that's not necessarily the group themselves that are distinctive. But the problem is we're not seeing just like, groups of 20 or 30 people from El Salvador that all have, similar MS-13 tattoos or anything. I just talked to a guy who's still on the patrol yesterday who's over in Arizona, and the entire west coast of Africa is showing up in Arizona. So to say that, like, we're getting all these groups from Guatemala or Honduras, that they're the same as the people coming from Senegal, like, there's really just no way when you have 180 countries coming in that they're similar like that.
Hey, Tom, Border Patrol agent Tom is his name, New York State. Tom, is it true the cartel gets about $10,000 per body? That's what I've heard from multiple sources. Something like that.
That's on average, but if it's a specialty, like if, say, Chinese or Bangladeshi or something like that, they get more. And
how does someone from Venezuela or Senegal afford $5,000 or $10,000? How does that work?
Your guess is as good as mine, but from what I'm understanding, it's all part of the NGOs, like Catholic charities, that are funding this.
Speaking of that, we have Grant Cardone in the queue. I see you, Grant, there. I'm going to get to you in a couple of minutes. Okay, everyone stand by. I may go back to you. But first, we have a breaking story out of O'Keefe Media. We have just busted the elitist facility on the border in Nogales. This is a 10-minute long video just posted a moment ago. But what I'm going to do for you is I'm just going to play a few clips on the front end here. And then we're going to talk about this. I just want to break this story. We're live on the air. This story's been posted. This is in Nogales. This is on the border. This is a pretty spiritually dark location I visited with my crew. And we went to this NGO called Nogales, which is a nonprofit transporting migrants into the country. I'm going to play a few of these clips and talk about what occurred here. Every time I show up anywhere, they just instantly call the police. Hi. I'd like your name and badge number. So we walk up to the bus, and the police officer comes up to me.
Garcia 276.
What's your first name?
Garcia 276.
He just says his first and last name are identical. Your name is just Garcia? Can I have your full name, please?
No.
No, he refuses to give me his full name. Can I have your full name, please?
No. You guys are just...
I'm an American journalist. I don't protest. I report. What did they say? So the group actually said that we were using racial slurs against them by showing up. They lied and said that we were using racial slurs. They also said we were protesting. I'm not there to protest. I'm there to ask questions. One American Red Cross worker got really belligerent with me and almost grabbed the camera and covered his badge so that we couldn't see it. I read his badge out loud. Why are you blocking? The American Red Cross workers were in Nogales next to what's called Elitas and Elisa's Angels, nonprofit NGO. We spoke undercover to the Elisa's Angels, and they said that they were getting federal money. A lot of NGOs making a lot of money involved, hundreds of millions of dollars going to nonprofit organizations that you've never even heard of before. They have very little social media presence, maybe a couple hundred followers, maybe on Instagram. And these Red Cross workers very upset at me for even standing there. On the camera.
What? Out of respect for humans, okay?
What do you mean respect?
No discussion.
No. So Tucker Carey Vincent? Why are you covering your badge?
Why?
Why are you covering your badge?
I'm done.
Where are you going?
California.
He's going to California. This is a Red Cross worker running away. Like I said, they always run, call the cops, have a seizure. Mark Cuban likes to destroy the footage before airdropping it to himself. Can't make this stuff up, guys. Why would you hide your badge?
I have no obligation to speak with you.
Yeah, but actually, I disagree with you. I think that as a public official who's getting hundreds of millions of dollars in federal money, I actually... Okay, sure. Now you're switching gears here. The Red Cross worker turns around, runs in the other direction. They scatter around like cockroaches. And there's this bank building that we show up to. This is an old bank building at 112 Park. I will print the addresses. I will show the locations. Hundreds of millions of dollars of money. They lock the doors on me. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm live. We're in Nogales, Arizona, outside the Casas Elitas nonprofit organization receiving hundreds of millions of dollars. They lock the doors, and they're scurrying around, scattering like cockroaches just because I'm standing in the street with a microphone. Indoors, running away, hiding their badges in their vests.
Leave him alone.
This is one Elitas Angels worker. She lost control of herself here, standing on the street.
Leave him alone.
I have a right to be here, ma'am.
Leave him alone.
Who are you?
Your father. Your father.
She says that she's my father. This is your taxpayer dollars hard at work. She's my father. Man, what do you mean you're my father? So, Elitas Angels, a group you've never... I'll play one more clip, and then Grant, I'm going to go to you. Get down.
Don't get nothing.
What's that?
Don't get nothing.
This is one of the workers at Casas Elitas walking up to me. I thought he was going to kill me. He had his hand... We thought he had a gun. And he had his hand in his pocket. He walks right up to me. I'm standing outside the facility here. Who are you?
Me?
Yeah.
It's not your business.
They always say it's none of my business. The Red Cross, Casas Elitas, International Rescue Committee. It's really a profound statement on society. I mean, that they're getting billions of dollars of federal money, and I'm not allowed to know what's going on. We pay money for this, so we want to know what's happening.
So you don't pay nothing for this?
That's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. We do pay money for your organization, sir. The 990 Schedule B shows it. For International Rescue, we're looking to obtain Elitas Angels. If you're listening to this program and you have information about Elitas Angels, you can DM us. If you're just joining us, please make sure to share the space, follow OMG, and remember, our mission is to uplift citizen journalism. DM us, signal us. We want to hear from you. We'll get to you in a minute. I apologize for being late. We're just publishing this video now. Go to pay for it.
My tax paid too, and I don't tell nothing with the people.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
The guy who runs International Rescue Committee makes over $1 million a year off bringing people in this country. I bet you didn't know that, ladies and gentlemen. The CEO of International Rescue makes over $1 million a year as a nonprofit organization. He may even take black cars, for all we know. David Miliband is his name. And his company brings in $400 million from the feds.
You try to attack the people we work here.
Then they said that we were using racial slurs and tried to attack them. They called the police on us. This is a worker inside Elitas Angels. I have it all on video. I filmed everything. So I didn't attack anybody. But then he found out that we were investigative reporters. And finally, us showing up, we followed the white bus all the way to Tucson, and we get to this secret location that no one's ever reported on. That's 1150 West Drexel Road, Tucson, Arizona. Again, we're going to publish these addresses. This is a massive compound in Tucson that you've never heard about. School buses, white buses, NGOs, trafficking and transporting people. Here at Santa Cruz and Drexler in Tucson, in front of this major elitist facility that you probably never knew existed. Who are you? This is the facility, and you can see my interaction there in the video. Okay, so I'm going to go to you, Grant. You're concerned about the economy, obviously. We've got these NGOs getting $1 billion in money. What's your reaction to these videos, this information that we're seeing here, Grant?
Well, I just want to thank you for your commitment and your craziness. You're an insane dude, or you're severely committed, or some combination. So you should be an inspiration to everybody looking to see the truth and hear the truth. So thank you, James. Look, I'm from an immigrant family. I support immigration. I think it's good for our country. I just want it done the way, my grandparents came in, and the way so many people in America came in legally. My question to you is, did you see anybody coming across that looked underfed, distraught, and that didn't have a charged cell phone? Because I keep wondering why these people, if they've crossed through 2 or 3 countries, in some cases more, why aren't they down to bones, skin and bones? Where do they get their charged telephones from? And why are they so well dressed coming across?
Good question. Answer, I did check out Alita's Amazon wish list and all kids and maternity photos, but their site makes it looks like it's all about families. This is Elitas Angels, the NGO in Nogales, just 50 yards from the border. I only really saw mostly men in the video there, and I only saw mostly men, so I'm a little confused about that for sure. And I appreciate that people are trying to get a better life. This has nothing to do with my perspective on whether or not they want that. It's about the money that they're receiving. But that's the answer to your question. But any other thoughts, Grant?
Yes, sorry about that, James. Yeah, no, I just see them coming across, and nobody looks hungry. They look well-fed, well-rested. They don't look panicked or scared. They seem to be very confident about where they're going. And I just know in my life, when I'm not sure about where my money's coming from, I'm scared, and I have a scared look on my face. And none of these, what is it? Got to be 96% men.
Well, Grant, what do you think about this? Have you ever heard, Grant, you're pretty versed in economics, knowledgeable guy, pay attention to public policy issues. Did you ever heard, did you know that these nonprofits were getting $500 million? Did you know that?
I had no idea. I had no idea that, but it does not surprise me.
And this is I've never heard of Elitas before. I'm not an Arizonian. There's so many of these NGOs, and they only have a couple hundred followers on Instagram. They have no social media presence whatsoever. These are massive facilities. What do you make of that? What's your reaction to that?
Well, I can only assume, and I don't know this to be true, that somebody else is funding this activity. I'd love for you, I don't have the time to do it, or the courage, to track down, okay, where's the money coming from? Who's funding this activity? And then how are they doing it? They must be doing it to get some kind of write-off. So I can just imagine from a charitable sense, somebody's funding a foundation, writing it off of their taxes, and then paying for this activity, possibly, could it possibly be dirty money that's being washed and cleaned up? Or is it some very wealthy corporation or individual that's scamming the charity IRS regulations.
Well, thank you, Grant. We're going to go to Marauder. Let me ask you the same question before we get to our next few guests. First of all, Marauder, I don't know if you had a chance to see this video that we just posted. Have you had a chance to watch even a couple minutes of it? Just posted the last 30 minutes?
No, I'm sorry, but I'm brushing up on some stuff to ask and to bring to the discussion here. But I'm actually going to it right now.
Well, let me ask you this: just have you? Why are these NGOs getting hundreds of millions of dollars and no one's ever heard of that? These are nonprofit organizations. What is going on? You have some experience in this area. Like, why are they getting all this money?
So that's a really good question, and I have another analogy to kind of give you an idea. There's the YouTuber named Cash Jordan who actually also reported on this, on NGOs that were supposed to house migrants and facilitate their well-being and provide them food and provide them with rooms and hotels. So typically it is somebody, I would say somebody kind of knows somebody. So somebody within these NGOs, they know somebody in the government. And so they were able to get their foot in the door to secure the contract. That's 9 times out of 10 what's
That's interesting. They have a relationship with somebody in the United States government, and it's all about the money. It does seem to be a money grab, doesn't it?
Typically, yeah. So it's not what you know, it's who you know. And these people, they have really good connections. So if they can present themselves to a very, I would say, polarized politician and can say, hey, I can help you achieve this. This is your goal. And you get to go through me, and nobody really gets to suspect that, it's you allocating the tax dollars. It's you giving it to an NGO, and the NGO performing the work for you that you don't want to, that you kind of want to keep a distance with. That is typically the name of the game.
All right, we got Pablito. Pablito, are you there? Pablito, you're on mute. If you can hear me.
I'm here.
Pablito, our citizen journalist from Arizona. We just broke the story, Pablito, in Nogales, featuring this NGO named Casas Alitas. You're a citizen journalist who kind of led me on to this. It's because of you that I went to Nogales. Could you tell the world what the hell is going on 50 yards from the border there with Casas Alitas?
Well, what's happening is that they took over a bank and they processed all the illegal immigrants right at the border, and then they escort them into the bank, and then in the bank they receive, health care, they get their phones, they get a bus ticket or plane ticket, and then they're matched with, they're supposed to be family members, but sometimes they're just friends or supposedly acquaintances that miraculously, magically pop up, in a day. And so that's all they need for the government to release them. And most of them don't even fill out their application properly. They wait till their final destination, and that's where you get, you hear always, hey, they never show up in court. Well, that's the reason they never show up in court, because they never complete their applications, and what the evidence they had was false, was fake. And I know this real personally because I used to work for attorneys, immigration attorneys. And when I go to interview people, 99% of them didn't qualify for amnesty or asylum. But the strange thing is when we tell them you don't qualify, they get mad. And a week later, I see them in court with another attorney. And that attorney, all of a sudden, they're victims of violence, they're victims, every single title that will let them qualify. But one of the biggest problems is also the attorneys themselves. There would be no business in the immigration, attorney business. It's because they all know they don't qualify. So the attorneys themselves will coach and tell the illegals, hey, this is what you got to say, this is what you got to do. And once we get you out on bond or you're clear, then you never have to come back. They pay them their fees up front, they made their money, and bye-bye.
How does so what have you learned since we were down there with you in Nogales? What have you learned being on the ground there?
Well, what I've learned is that Border Patrol, I have friends and family that work Border Patrol and staff for the border. And what they've been telling me is that what the government, the edict or whatever the government they put out is they're asking Border Patrol officials to go out into the desert and find all the illegal aliens and bring them to the port of entry, because Title 8, in order to qualify for asylum or
I think we lost you there, Pablito, if you can hear me. I think you put yourself on mute.
I'm sorry. No, it's just that what the administration is asking Border Patrol agents to do is to go into the desert, to go out to these faraway places where the immigrants are massing, and to collect them. And see, that's a way to avoid Title VIII. Title VIII is you have to have a critical fear interview, and you have to present yourself at a port of entry and declare for amnesty. So none of these people are doing that. They're being detained out in the desert, but the government's telling them to escort them to the port of entry. That way they can qualify, and we won't get any slack. That way they won't be breaking the law. But most of them don't even fill out their applications yet. They just kind of rush them through, and then they're let go freely to the U.S., to my community, to Tucson, Arizona. Some of them don't even have people to go to. That's the part that scares me and freaking me out. And some of them don't have those family members they need in order to be released, and they're just letting them go into the community.
What about Pablito getting some people inside this Casas Elitas facility and kind of undercover? What about that?
I'm working on that, and what I found for Casas Elitas is, that's an organization that I had never known or had never heard on the border, and all of a sudden they have people. What they're doing now, I found out since you left, is that they're sending representatives to the hospitals, to hotels, and telling them, hey, we're getting more migrants, we're going to get another influx, be ready. We're sending them to the hospitals, the clinics. The thing that's also surprised me is that the hospital clinics aren't reporting all the illegal immigrants that they're treating, and that the bill, the taxpayer footing. When I was growing up, that's something you'd always hear in the news, the 80s and 90s now. UMC, now, which is not bad in Tucson, was 20, back in the day, 20, 30 million.
So Pablito, most people have never heard of this Elitos. They just get, their eyes get blinded by just how much money. One question is, so will you commit to having some people go undercover in this organization between now and the election? I think that's very important.
Oh, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. I'm working on it myself right now.
See, what we're doing on the show, everyone, is we're putting people to work. We're deputizing. You might say, oh, James, OPSEC, don't announce your plans. This is 2024, baby. New year, new James O'Keefe. We're going to lean into the fire and tell the world and tell everyone what we're doing. And the good news is that'll drive more citizen journalists to us. You can DM us. You can go to our Signal People comment section. James, where can I send you information? If you haven't figured that out by now, man, you have no business being a citizen journalist. You can DM us on Instagram or X. You can send us a message on Signal. Pablo here is going to help. Pablito here is going to help with the undercover work. He's in the video. Pablito is exposing this organization locally. They're freaking out. By the way, I have one more question before we go to our next person to talk to. How can these people afford the $10,000 to give to the cartel? How does that work from your estimation there on the ground in Nogales?
Well, some people do raise the money, but usually what happens is that the organization, the NGOs, pay for them. That's what I've been told. They actually pay for them to be crossed, to come over. And then the bad part about it is that after the NGOs pay them, whoever those people or children are turned over to, that's not the problem. And that's something, one of the things that disgusts me about Alitas. I heard about them, because I told you, James, but I don't know if people know that. Actually, my law firm, myself, I was the one that blew open, exposed Obama when he was taking kids. That happened in Nogales. The first pictures that ever came out in Nogales were from the Catholic the diocese. We supplied the telephone. I made the phone call, and then the story blew. And that's the first time I heard Alitas, but they weren't in Nogales. They were in Yuma. And what disgusts me is that they were trying to, that's when I worked with the immigration attorney, they were trying to hire us to process these children. And when I would ask them for evidence, for proof that these children, the people who were claiming them were relatives, the evidence they had was, oh yeah, we have a notarized paper from Ecuador, from El Salvador, and I kept telling them, look, anybody can do that. I can go and say this is my child. You can get a letter.
Hey, Pablito, are these people?
They were pimping him out. They were just sending him to whoever just to get him off the path. It was disgusting. Being their father, I was disgusted by that. And so, look, if you don't have solid evidence like a birth certificate, an ID, something that will tell me this is the father or the mother, we're not going to process. We're not going to work for our people.
So let's go back to the facility in this video that there's a video here of this. For those of you just joining us, there's a video obtained on the border in a town called Nogales, which is an hour and a half south of Tucson, right on the border, of this nonprofit you've also never heard of called Casas Alitas, busing people up to secret migrant shelters in Tucson. Are these... Pablito, how does it work down there right on the border? Because you're a citizen journalist in Nogales. Where do they get bussed from and bussed to? What are you witnessing? What are you witnessing with your eyes there on the ground?
Well, they're processed and then they're loaded onto the buses and they're shipped to either the facility that I took you to in Tucson, the Orlitas, the big one, that used to be a former call center that houses for 500 to 1,000 illegal immigrants. And they also bus them to the airport. Our airport is being used as another processing center. They have big tarps there, and nobody's allowed to even approach it. I found out from some military friends of mine what they were doing there. And then they're bused to Phoenix, or they're bused to another location in Tucson that I just found out about, actually, also.
Hey, Pablito, hold on. Nick, are you still there? Nick Shirley.
Yes, I'm right here.
We got these other locations that whistleblowers are giving us in Arizona, apparently, because Pablito just brought this up. You want to go with me to Arizona and bust them open, these other locations?
Yes, give me a time and day and I'll be there.
All right. You're in Utah, right?
Yes.
Okay, because we got a couple more addresses. This is breaking news, everyone. We got a whistleblower coming to us on Signal who drives the buses, and he just gave us all the secret locations. And a couple of those locations actually corroborate the locations that were given to me by the Border Patrol insider last week. That's how it's done. So just stand by here. This is me outside the location. This is breaking video. Talking to the Uber driver. Dilip is the Uber driver's name. Pablito's laughing because he was standing next to me when this occurred. And we're just going to play this for you, and I'm going to narrate live what occurred. Listen to this. Listen to this. Hold on.
Spoke to the Uber driver who's pulling in to pick up the migrants. You're an Uber? Are you picking up the...
There's an Uber driver at the Alitas location in Tucson. Pablito, put yourself on mute for a second. This is the Uber driver pulling up to the location.
Refugees? Yeah. You are picking up the refugees.
I know a lot of people here.
How long has this been operating? A year?
A year?
Yeah.
I'm asking the Uber driver, how long has this place been? He says a year. He's picking up illegal immigrants and migrants at this secret facility. I'm standing outside the entranceway of the facility.
Yes, you know Alitas?
Alita, I know Jorge, George, Grace.
Guy starts naming employees that work there.
Jorge, George, and Grace.
Grace.
Yeah.
Jason.
David.
I have his phone number.
He offers me the phone numbers for the employees at Casas Alitas at 1150 West Drexel Road.
And the Uber driver gave me the phone of two employees that work for Casa Alitas. In fact, he saved them on his device as Jorge Casa Alitas and Jeanette Casa.
He actually gives me his phone and gives me the phone number. So I end up calling Jorge at the Casas Alitas. I'm standing outside the gate trying to get in.
Jorge and Jeanette. Thank you. All right. We're calling Jorge from Alitas. Hey there, this is James standing outside the Alitas facility.
Yes.
There's a shipment, I guess, of migrants coming into the...
Jorge thinks Jorge thinks I work there, or I'm part of the Uber driver. I'm in the car with the Uber driver, who he knows.
Facility, Alitas...
1150 West Drexel, but nobody's allowed into the facility.
Okay.
So the Uber drivers park on the dirt road next door. So we just got a message from an Uber driver here. Hello, I'm going to read this to you guys live on the air. Hello, James. I wanted to thank you for exposing the location at 1150 West Drexel. I'm going to redact the name. I'm an Uber driver here in Tucson. I've taken numerous migrants to Sky Harbor from that location. So they take the migrants from Nogales. They ship them to 1150 West Drexel in Tucson. If you're looking at this video, you can't even see it inside the facility. It's kind of a fence covered in what appears to be blankets. I don't know why they're trying to hide this. And then they ship them to Tucson. So the Uber driver says, quote, "I always knew something wasn't right about that place. I was talking to my wife about reaching out to you to have you investigate, but you beat me to the punch." For those of you just joining us, I'm reading an Uber driver's message live on the air in response to this video. Quote, "I did want to add one more piece of information that may lead to some deeper questions. I've noticed that almost all the people I've dropped off are flying via Delta. Not sure if it's significant. Please be safe out there. Much love." We have eyes and ears everywhere. We've got eyes and ears in Mark Cuban's gym. 3 people that work out with Mark Cuban told me where he works out. Now we got Uber drivers dropping off migrants at the secret elitist facility. And they're coming in hot. Elitas means little wings in Espanol. Casas Elitas, an organization you've never heard of in a place you've never heard of. Reporting live on the inside with James O'Keefe. Next up is, I don't know if she's still there, Jenny Tare. Are you still there?
I am here. Thank you for having me.
Jenny is an investigative journalist who's done work for Daily Caller, One American News. She just interviewed a Venezuelan migrant at the Houston airport who told her he is thankful to Biden for helping him get to America. Jenny, I don't know if you had a chance to watch this video or any of these videos. Your reaction as well as what you've seen in recent days.
I did get a chance to watch your video. I think that, there is this pipeline generally. I have been to the border multiple times, both the southern and northern borders of the United States, as well as Central America. So I've seen exactly what happens when migrants are released with their notice to appear documents, which are their court dates. When there are resources in the area, they are usually dropped off at these NGOs, which there's a lot of background with them. They often receive a lot of funding through FEMA grants, which I know you kind of alluded to. That program is actually, although it's run by FEMA, the people who decide where the actual allocations of funding from Congress go are actual NGOs. It's run by United Way. That also is a program that was highly scrutinized recently by the DHS Inspector General's office because of misuse of those funds. So there are absolutely a lot of questions about these organizations. I have been in some of the NGO shelters. It just depends, but some are very tight-lipped, as you've shown.
So which ones have you been on? Just tell everyone, like, specifically. You've been to one in Arizona?
I've not been to the one in Arizona. There are a few in El Paso that help migrants. They are really in dilapidated conditions from what I could tell. They also serve the homeless. And there are questions as to whether they are complying with FEMA grants, their regulations. When you receive the grants, you can only take in those that have been released by Border Patrol. The ones that do not, cross with apprehension, that evade apprehension, known as gotaways, should not be served by organizations using federal funds. So that's something that's also been heavily scrutinized. There's a question as to where is this funding going?
How are they getting hundreds of millions of dollars? How does that work? How are these nonprofits getting all this money?
Yeah, so for example, the FEMA board, which is run by United Way, the Red Cross, Salvation Army, the Church of the National Council of the Churches of Christ in the USA, the Jewish Federation, all of these groups take what Congress has allocated for the year for the FEMA Emergency Food and Shelter Program, and they hand it out to these local nonprofits that say they are using it for humanitarian assistance of migrants at their shelters.
Humanitarian assistance of migrants. Now, we've heard reports from sources that it's about $10,000 per person from the Border Patrol agents telling me the cartel gets paid about $10,000. How do these people afford a $10,000 payment as they make their way up from South America into the United States?
There's a lot of different ways. One of the ways is they already have family in the United States that may have been here for a while and working to then bring their family from overseas as well. So they'll, almost like remittances. They use that to come. Some of them, of course, as some of the folks here mentioned, do become enslaved, essentially. Maybe they work on an illegal marijuana grow. Maybe they are sex trafficked. Maybe they are part of this underground child labor industry. And so there's many different ways. I recently actually embedded myself into some Telegram channels that Turkish smugglers had been using to bring people from across the globe to the U.S. border. And they charge $10,000. They act as if they are travel agencies. So when you pay them, they make all the arrangements. They get your flights, they book your hotels in Mexico. They connect you with each person and each step along the way. And then, of course, they all post the videos showing their successful crossings.
And you have these Telegram channels from these human smugglers. Have you published those yet?
I have, yes. They're on the Daily Caller website.
What's some of they use false pretenses to recruit people and get them traveling. Give us some examples of some of those quotes.
Well, they will tell people that, you can come to the United States for $10,000 across the border. They say it's very easy. They make it very simple. They get you a visa. If you are from a country that it's difficult to get a visa in Mexico, they find another route for you, either through El Salvador or Nicaragua, where there are lax visa restrictions. They know exactly the landscape of the globe when it comes to the free movement of people. And they also seem to be very well connected with Spanish-speaking folks who are smugglers along the border, because at the final stage in a lot of these videos, you see they're crossing. They are not Spanish-speaking migrants, but the person showing the successful mass crossing is speaking Spanish with them. But again, this is to recruit people from all over the world, and they have all different advertisements. Even one, if you are from Azerbaijan, I found that recruits people from there and gives them a special way to get to the U.S. as well.
Wow. Well,
Hey, James.
Who's that? Who's that? Tom from the Border Patrol, your reaction. Tom from the Border Patrol, your reaction.
Yeah, so one of the other things, because I've heard you ask this question multiple times now, how do they get the money? How do they get the money? So we've talked about the NGOs and stuff, but the one thing that Jenny briefly touched on that sparked my brain was that the horror story that people don't know that I've seen personally here. We had a bus where there was a Chinese food restaurant that were locking illegals in their basement and forcing them to work off of the debt of getting them crossing the country. So there's slavery.
So it's like a lien. It's like they have to pay off the creditor.
Exactly. And, the $10,000, it could be 20 or 50,000. They just keep them, and because the people, what are they going to do? They're going to call the police. They don't speak English, and they just know they'll get deported, so they enslave them.
All right. There's so much to expose. There's almost too much information. I think we need undercover journalism, citizen journalism. We have people right now, I can't tell you where or who, but I mean, we know Nick is going to be busting these facilities wearing his reflecting vest with me in Arizona coming very soon. More conversations. We love to hear your tips, questions, and comments from the audience. I'm going to go to, it's 5:30. Usually we end at 5:30, but I'm going to go till 6 o'clock because I was 30 minutes late. We were exporting this piece. It's live. If you're just joining us, we just broke part 3 of the installment. Every Wednesday, we have another installment. This installment, I'm your father. A elitist woman screams at me, I'm your daddy, she says. wild. Every time I do this, people say the damnedest thing. It's like I'm almost like an exorcist. I reveal the demons in people. I bring the worst out of bad people. That's my job as an investigative journalist in a visual way. I'm your daddy, says the elitist worker at 1150 West Drexel in Tucson. Elitist Angels in Nogales. We followed the trail of the migrant vans right to the source, visiting the Arizona border town where we encountered some insane people. I thought one of these guys was going to kill me. He had his hand in his pocket. He said I'm a racist. They said that we were shouting racial slurs at them. We just standing there. Called the police on us. The police showed up, wouldn't give us his name, and then ran us off the property. And then we followed the white buses to Tucson, where we spoke to a worker there, operations manager, called the police on us again, and then we got an Uber driver to get us into the facility where we spoke to another individual. We're just following the scent, ladies and gentlemen, step by step, brick by brick, taking you play by play all the way to Election Day. It's January the 16th, and we are on the scent. So now I want to go to all of you. Just raise your hand. This is lightning round. I will cut you off. You have 20 seconds to ask me a question or say something. 20 seconds or less. I'm going to teach you how to communicate. You got to speak in 20-second nuggets. No one has time to pay attention to your long monologues. We focus on the cold, hard facts at OMG. So let's go back to Marauder. Your turn. 20 seconds. Go.
I just wanted to add, so Jenny brought up a really good point about FEMA. They're the Domestic Emergency Relief Fund. There's also U.S. Aid, the U.S. Agency for International Development. And I just want to say last year in November, they announced more than $450 million to go to addressing the root causes of migration in Central
Thank you.
America.
Lot of funding. Let's go to live one. Go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Well, 20 seconds is pretty short, but James, we both know, I think, who Barbara Jones is, former special master of...
All right, we're talking about immigration. Let's go to concerned citizen. You're live. Go ahead. 20 seconds. Question. Go ahead. Unmute yourself, sir.
Okay. Hello, thanks you so much for the opportunity. Massive fan. Appreciate it. It's not a question on immigration. I'm curious to know why no one talks about the subject of global engineering.
Global engineering. We're talking about the Arizona migrant facilities or the Mark Cuban Confrontation, a video we just launched. Let's next person up. Let's go back to Nick while we wait for the next person. Raise your hand, please, if you want to speak. Nick, you there? Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go to Lady Di, the Baby Whisperer. You're live on the inside with James O'Keefe. Question or comment? 20 seconds. Go.
Hey, James O'Keefe. Great work. Everybody, citizen journalist. Yeah, I'm in Colorado. I'm near it all with those government airplanes and hideouts and whatever's going around. I'm right by Lockheed and all that. But I see these small airplanes, weird ones, loud ones, seem like they're old ones. And they're constantly going 65 times a day, north and south. Just asking if you think they're taking children up here.
All right. Well, we got facilities everywhere. Let's go to Acaster requested. Go ahead. You're live. 20 seconds. Question or comment? Let's go to Sean Campbell. 20 seconds or less. Question or comment? You're live on the inside with James O'Keefe. Go ahead.
Yeah, James. So I uprooted my life here to Ajo, so I live and report on the border now. The Litas stuff, that's been reported on all year long. The newest facility was actually approved by the city, the county and the city. They received grant and funding of over $3.2 million. I can send you all those articles. We've been reporting on it all year long, so you would just be the first to kind of make it a thing where people more in Maricopa and whatnot know what's kind of going on.
Tell us about how much money is Elitas getting from the federal government. Do you have a copy of their 990 tax return?
I don't, because you were the first to bring it up, and I was about to go down there again this week. Let's see here. I know that the county of Pima approved a $3.2 million contract. That was reported by the Tucson Sentinel. That was also reported by the Daily Star. And
how can we find out how much money they're getting from the feds? Because we know that $415 million came from the federal government to international rescue, and thank you for your local reporting there. We want to get to the bottom of their tax return. My understanding is you can actually just go right to Elitas and ask, and they're required to give it to you. Is that something that you could do? Is ask them for their tax return?
Yeah, so I'm down in Ajo. I'd be happy to. So they're about 2.5 hours from me. I did more or the Tucson sector because I'm right by Lukeville. But I'd already planned to go down there and revisit Soseby just because we have the NGO No More Deaths down there, and I'm reporting on them right now. So I can go down this week and ask them.
Love it.
A request as well.
Love it. You're here in Citizen Journalism Live. Sean, send us a DM. Thank you I'm glad to have met you and heard from you. We got people who are coming right on the program and informing us they're on the ground, and we appreciate what you're reporting. Let's go to Space. Space Cowboy, U.S. Marine veteran. You got 20 seconds. Question or comment? Go.
Yeah, well, first, thanks, James, again, for all your work and all the whistleblowers. You guys are the bravest people I think that we have in our country, and we're all thankful. And I'm glad to hear that Sheriff Lamb was correct, even though the media tend to discount his reporting on the border. But my question is for the Border Patrol agent. What are these fees called that the illegals have to pay? $10,000, $20,000, whatever it is, to pay their way to get to the U.S. And thanks again, everybody.
Thank you for the question. Tom, Border Patrol agent, your response.
Yeah, I don't remember. There is actually a word for it that they use in Spanish. I don't recall it right offhand, but there is a specific name for the payments that the cartel demands for these people to cross. But basically, it's just that. It's just a payment. Like, you must make this payment to cross.
Okay, let's go to Florida, Buckeye. If you're listening, we're going to people. You got 20 seconds. Question or comment? Go.
Hey, James, first and foremost, thank you for doing more good for this country than 99.9% of our elected officials. My question regarding when you met Mark Cuban, can you confirm or deny if he soiled himself? And if so, was it number 1 or 2?
Well, I would say that I can't confirm if he soiled himself. He did sweat. He was sweating. We were working out. It was about 45 minutes. And the workout was like a jazzercise class. I've done some of these workouts. It's very intense. You're deadlifting, you're out of breath, your muscles. I mean, this was like I was sliding my left foot to the right, sliding my right foot to the left. It was just I was on like a saucer on a basketball court. It was very strange. It wasn't very intense workout. Let's go to Divergent Squirrel. You got 20 seconds. Question or comment? You're live on the Inside with James O'Keefe. Go.
Hey, James. Just thanks for having me up here. Thanks for all your hard work. I was kind of wondering about the bigger picture of all this. I know a lot of people are saying, that the immigrants are getting these getting over here from like individuals that are like enslaving them or whatnot. But I'm thinking this may be a larger picture than that. It seems kind of irrational to me to think that all of these people are coming over here on an individual contract basis like that.
Well, I mean, it certainly needs more investigation, and I think if you're listening to this and you want to investigate, you want to go undercover, we need citizen volunteers. We just put a few to work this week in California, Arizona, and Texas. Who else we got? Raise your hand if you want to speak. We got another 15 minutes here. We got P-Dog. What are these names? Why don't you just call yourself? Go ahead, P-Dog. Your sense of humor might offend me, but it'd take a lot to offend me after what I've been through in my life. Go ahead. You got 20 seconds.
I doubt it'll offend you. You can call me Marty if you want.
Marty, what's up?
I have a question about this elitist facility, and there's been a lot of noise about how Governor Abbott has been sending.
And what do you mean you're my father?
Go ahead.
What's that?
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. There's been a lot made about Abbott sending buses, to Chicago, New York, whatever. But I know that the federal government is also sending people out. Did you get any sense of where and how many people are being processed through this elitist center and where they're sending them?
It was a major facility. What struck me about the address that we went to in Tucson was just how many people and how many buses. And the Border Patrol agent last week told us they're shipped from a location a law enforcement center on the border. There's a series of locations for being shipped to Sky Harbor. This is a massive logistics operation. Let's go to Caster 8. Go ahead. You're live. Go ahead.
Thank you, James. I just wanted to say that these economic migrants are really destroying our country, and I believe that we need a modern, updated Operation Wetback for 2024.
All right, let's not use that word. Let's go to #CussFree. Hashtag family is everything. You're live on the inside with James O'Keefe. Go. Are you there?
Hello.
Go ahead. You got 20 seconds. Question or comment?
You got 20 seconds. So, James, thanks for the work you did, dude. I've been following you for since ever. And I mentioned you on X today. I want you to direct me, and I need to talk to you.
All right. Well, you can DM us or send us a message on Signal if you have something.
I did. I don't have Signal, so
you can download it. Download it.
I did message you a lot of times on X, and you never answered. So I live in Montreal.
Well, you got about 10 seconds. So if you want to tell the world something, go ahead. Otherwise, we'll take this offline.
Yeah, Montreal is the root of the problem, guys. So I live in Montreal. All right. And Epstein did tell us one thing. If it wasn't from Montreal, this would never happen.
Why is Montreal the root of the problem?
Because Montreal is the birthplace of America.
All right, thank you. Let's go back to, okay, thank you, sir. Let's go to Nick. Nick, your hand is up. Nick was the young man who infiltrated the facility in New York City. Brass balls. Go ahead.
Yeah, as I've been listening to a lot of people that are questioning about how these immigrants are making money and who's making money off this, and I've actually been able to talk, and I talked to a lady that I met from the border, and I talked to her what happened to her after, and she confirmed that when they're in these immigration facilities, they get free clothes, they get free telephone, they get free cell phones, and so I have to believe that those companies are profiting off this, and they have ties with the governments as well.
Well, maybe, Nick, you can help me track that money trail. Let's go undercover. You speak hablas español. You're fluently, right?
Yeah, I speak Spanish fluently, so...
Well, that's a job for an undercover reporter. I'll provide the cameras. We'll go to Arizona and bust it open. Thank you. Let's go to these names. Zen Satori, Gulf War veteran. Sir, you're live on the inside with James O'Keefe. Your reaction to the video, any question or comment?
I haven't watched the video yet. I've been listening to the space. I'm going to watch the video, but I wanted to listen to you. Everything you do for America is awesome, and everyone appreciates it. And I just wanted to ask, has there been any success in sending illegals to Delaware? I think we should be flooding Delaware and Washington, D.C. with the illegals if they're going to ship them anywhere.
Most of the locations I'm aware of are New York, New Jersey, and Ohio. But thank you for the comment. Let's go to Jay Marie. Jay Marie, you there?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
James, you are yes, sir. You're an inspiration to all of us. You have huge levels. And for everyone else listening, it's time to do your part. We got a nation to save. So it's all hands on deck, baby. Let's do this.
All hands on deck. We got to get people to go undercover. We got citizen journalists in every state. We're activating them as we speak. Let's go to Douglas Liafun. The first casualty of war is truth. 20 seconds. Go ahead, sir. Douglas, unmute yourself. Douglas is not there. Let's go to Go ahead, Douglas.
I apologize.
Go ahead.
My question is, there's a lot of passports and whatnot that I've seen on the ground from other reporting. Is anything followed up with those? Like, are those people hunted down at all?
Yeah, that's a great question for Tom, our Border Patrol agent, our second Border Patrol agent to go public here, Led Zekopa. Tom, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What's the answer to the question about we see photos with all these documents torn up? What's your reaction?
Yeah, so what happens is a lot of times these people have legitimate government-issued documents from their country of origin, and they don't want to use them. They'll come across and give a fake name, get the benefits. That way, if they're ever deported, they always have another chance to come back. So they don't realize it doesn't work because we fingerprint them and we take their iris scan and all that, so it doesn't matter. And the other reason is because the cartel strips them of that stuff so that they can't try and cross on their own.
Explain what you mean by that. Why would the cartel have to strip them there?
Because if the migrants took it upon themselves just to try and cross the river, they would have all their, passport, IDs, all of that stuff handy, and they don't need the cartel to help them in any way. They just show up, and a guy in a green uniform takes them in. If they don't have that stuff and they cross the border, they feel like they have no way to make it further into the country if they happen to be one of the gotaways. Interesting.
It seems like the cartel is really involved in this. We still got another 10 minutes, and someone just sent me, and this is one of the beautiful things about what I do, the amount of people that are messaging me right now with inside information about the facility there in Tucson. Someone just sent me some images on Signal showing this facility was open less than a year ago. It was for lease in January of 2023. I'm reporting on this right now. So this facility was opened less than a year ago, and it's a massive complex. I'm just going to go ahead and post this in a thread under my tweet. I'm posting this live. Other people, we got another 10 minutes. Lightning round for comments, request to speak, and we will bring you up. Let's see who else we have here. Ex-President, are you there?
Yeah, thanks, James. Just a quick question. The transparency with the NGOs, I can understand the Border Patrol members being hesitant to speak, but do you get a sense of why they're not being transparent? I mean, do they feel like people asking are a nuisance? Or it feels like if they were in that position, they would feel confident in their mission and want to share that perspective. Just what you're feeling as far as where they're coming from.
That's a really good question. That is the existential question inherent in all of my work, which is why are people so afraid of being shown for precisely who they are?
Right, you think they'd almost want to share that message or what they're there for. It seems like they're there for
why? Let me ask you a question, ex-president. Why would Mark Cuban want to delete the footage off of the iPhone? Well, I've never seen that happen before. They confiscated the iPhone. They took the bystander by the shirt collar, and they held his face up to the iPhone like the scene in Clockwork Orange. And you could say, well, he shouldn't have consented. He's being assaulted. Why would he do that?
Right. I mean, this day and age with all the cameras out there, I don't know why. And even without cameras, I mean, you live in a way where you're not afraid of, living your life the way, out there.
I mean, it's a great question. It's a rhetorical question that has no legitimate answer. Why would these nonprofit officials who have to file 990s, public tax returns, why would they constantly call the police anytime a journalist stands there? And by the way, most people don't know who I am. It's not like they know my name. They don't really follow my work. Why do they call the police? You see the scene in the video, I'm your father. What is that about?
Right.
It reminds me of the scene. It reminds you of the scene of the other lady or the other guy saying, "How much they pay you? I'll pay you guys." And I don't understand what's happening in this country. Well, what I can tell you is it's prompting a revolution of whistleblowers, insiders, and citizen journalists. It is a great question, and I don't think there's an answer.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I don't know if this is a good comparison, but just looking at the last political debates, you have the politicians that won't respond to people interrupting. Then you have someone like Vivek, I saw a number of times addressing it and having a conversation and not being scripted, but knowing enough about who they are to have that conversation. It's night and day, I feel like.
You know, but Vivek said to me when I interviewed him, James, what you do and what we do here at O'Keefe Media and before at Project Veritas is we reveal the things about people that they don't want to publicly acknowledge about themselves. And there are always things that we do, every one of us, human beings. It might be in a private life, and that's not for public consumption, but there are always things that we do that we don't want to reveal that we do, that we don't want to acknowledge that we do. Now, of course, if you get $415 million, and by the way, going back to our reporter friend a moment ago, we look forward to hearing from you about the tax return. You owe it to the American people to tell us what you do. And we have a right to know what you do. And we will use any and all legal means, including surreptitious recording, including pretending to be something that we're not, in order to extract those truths. But there are all things about us that we don't want the public to know that we do. And the question is this: what are you doing, Elitas, that you don't want the public to know that you're doing? Are you ashamed of what you're doing, American Red Cross? That's a great question. If I were to speak with the president, let someone please message me his name. Are you ashamed of what you're doing? If you're, then why are you hiding your badge? You are literally wearing a badge around your neck. What's the purpose of the badge? You don't want the public to know your name? That's the trade-off in a civilized society, in a republic, in a democracy that cherishes the First Amendment and the public's right to know. Those are great questions, and I hope to have you on again. We have 8 minutes left, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, lightning round, live with James O'Keefe on the inside. Let's go to Angel Garcia. Go ahead, Angel.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, first of all, I just want to thank you for your work and every other citizen journalist that's out there. My question was regarding the cards that they received, and I'm not sure if this is accurate information, but I was under the impression that they were receiving credit cards. And I'm wondering if it's one bank that's actually handling those credit cards.
Don't know the answer to that. Tom, do we know who handles the credit cards?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not really certain on that. I do know that they are given cards, but I don't know if it's one financial institution or if it's spread out.
All right.
That might be a good line to look into to see where the money's going and where it's coming from.
That's a great point. If anybody here has access to any information on the inside about what's happening, you know who to call. Ghostbusters, OMG, James O'Keefe. Macro Minutes. Some of these names. Where do you come up with these? It's like the Joker and Batman. Where does he get all these toys? I've seen the damnedest names on X. Macro Minutes, go ahead. 20 seconds.
Thanks for having me up, James. Just had a quick question on demographics of the people that are coming in. Perhaps the border agents would have a better feel for this, but I've heard a lot about basically it all being, quote, military age men. Is that the case, or is it actually families coming across, a mix of everything? Because really the reason for the question is there potential for like sleeper cell type things to be coming into the U.S.?
Well, that's another question that we don't yet know the answer to. What we've seen on the border here is mostly men. Elitas on Amazon advertises maternity in females. We've seen mostly men. A question to continue to expose. Let's go to Nick Red Cloud. May the gods be upon you. 20 seconds. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks, James. Hey, I'm an Arizona native. I've been here my whole life. I work right now like I'm a rancher, but I'm delivering big truck parts. And all these big truck areas are all centered in the area. And there's hundreds and hundreds of illegals that you see just standing around doing nothing. You see the people that are transient and regular homeless people, all their, the amputations are through the roof from this fentanyl. It wasn't like that a couple of years ago. And you see these people that are just standing on the street. One day they have all their limbs, and the next day they're standing there with one of them missing. And they don't even care. Yeah, man, and I love this state. If you need any help,
Hey, we do need help. Do me a favor. This is what I'm talking about. This is what you're watching it live. Where do you live in Arizona? What? Not exactly, but the vicinity.
I'm in Phoenix, and I'm going to be here for about another 3 months, and then I'm going to be living on my homestead in northern Arizona because my city has turned to a dystopian nightmare.
All right. Well, we got 5 minutes left. I got to get to like 3 more people because the energy here is phenomenal. But do me a huge favor, download Signal. I got to give you a task. If it's just sending me a DM, anyone can do that. Download Signal and message me, and I know that you're for real. And I'll touch base with you. I got like 14 volunteers in Arizona, and I don't know if they want to give me. I don't know if they want me to give them a shout out. But I got a limousine company to drive you around for free in Arizona with security. Thank you, and you know who you are. I appreciate you very much. Let's go to TLC. That's not the band from the 90s. This is Are We There Yet? TLC, you got 20 seconds. Question or comment. Go.
Yeah, hey, James. I don't think there's been a video you've put out that I haven't seen. You're so impressive. I would claim you as one of my sons. In any event, the reason I wanted to pull up...
Well, you're not the... How about the woman on the video? I'm your father. So now you're claiming to be my mother. You can't make this stuff up.
You could be my son. In any event, the question I have is, given all that you've exposed, and you've been exposing quite a bit since all the way early in COVID, has anybody in the government reached out to you with anything in comment, anything?
Oh, in the government, you mean like not whistleblowers? You mean someone from the federal government just want... what's the context here?
Anybody of importance that has seen this and is frantic as we all are in this process that's happening at the border.
I think you're asking, has anyone in like the establishment tried to communicate with me kind of in a... Is that what you're asking? I just want to understand a question.
Yeah, anybody within the realm of 400 people that are elected to our...
Oh, Congress? Listen, not really.
Whole party.
No, Congress critters are interested in power, narcissism, money, and winning elections. Where there are a couple exceptions for the most part, but you have to be a psychopath to basically get into that position, and you're always raising money. You can't really. It's the illusion of power being in Congress. Real power is exposing them, and I mean, real power is accountability comes through exposure and enlightening people. So there was one time. In New Hampshire, where one of the state officials tried to cozy up to me or something like that. I think they were trying to get me to not publish the video. That was the only time in my career I can think of where someone in power tried to actually communicate with me. There are Congress people that write letters and do kabuki theater and hold hearings. But the only way we are going to actually change this country is for the people who have been on this program, who have offered, like young Nick here, going with a reflecting vest, busting open the whole thing and recording what's happening. We need 100 people to do that. And I'm going to deputize to do that. We got a couple minutes left here. On this Spaces, on the Inside with James O'Keefe, every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's go to Matthew O'Bannon. It's like O'Keefe and Steve Bannon had a love child. These names. Where do they come up with these names? Matthew.
Hey, mine's actually for real.
This is your real name. Go ahead, Matthew. You got 20 seconds. Go.
Hey, I just want to thank you and God bless you for the work you do. And the comment I want to make is I've noticed since the lockdown there was a lot of vehicles that were unmarked. And I don't know if this has anything to do with your state because I'm in another state. But there were times that I could have swore that I heard these vehicles like thinking it was road noise, but then thinking people were literally banging on the walls of these box trucks or like moving vehicles. Like, it's a very weird sound, if you know what I'm saying. Like, there's a difference between kind of like a UPS truck driving down the road making a noise versus, like, literally sounding like people are banging on a truck. But because I have no firsthand evidence, it makes me wonder if these facilities are preferring these unmarked vehicles to transport on top of what you were talking about.
That is a great point. All these things deserve investigation. By the way, if you want to support OMG, you can donate to us or buy our merchandise at O'Keefe Store. Is that right? O'KeefeStore.com. It costs like $10, $20. Buy the hat I wear in the video. Buy the T-shirt. Support our work. Fund our independent journalism. No one tells me what to do. No one tells me what not to do. I've had people try to bribe me, by the way. I've had board members fire me from my own company I founded because they wanted to control me or something. It was weird. But if you want to support us, buy our merchandise, buy our clothing, advertise our company. O'KeefeUndercover.com is where you can buy the hidden cameras. That's OMGUndercover.com and O'KeefeStore.com. O'Keefe Store. Buy our hats, buy our clothing. Okay, I got to do 2 more people. This is too much fun. And then we'll do closing. Let's go to Donna and then Matthew. Donna Pittman, go ahead. Donna, are you there? Donna, let's go to Matthew. Matthew already went to. Donna, are you there? Can you hear me? Unmute yourself. No? All right. Let's, one more. Free Speech Forever. I love that name. That's a name I can do. Let's free speech.
Hi, James.
You got 20 to 30 seconds. Last caller of the day. Go ahead.
Oh, hi, James. Who's speaking? I just want.
Donna, let's go to Donna, and then last one will be free speech. Donna, go ahead.
Okay, sorry, James. I was just so where I could unmute myself. I want to thank you so much for everything that you're doing. And I just want to say, as far as NGOs, they don't want us to know who they are, because they know what they're doing is illegal. What these people are doing is coming in illegally. Like you take people like Soros, he's changing his name from Media Matters to something else. I saw that on WEF this morning on Glenn Beck. But I think they're trying to hide because they're destroying our country.
Well, thank you for the comment. Let's go to Free Speech Forever. You're the last caller of the day. Go ahead.
Thank you, James. I just wanted to speak to the Border Patrol in here and listening. I just wanted to encourage you. You guys have more power than you think, especially with the union. The union 100% is funding this. They're not going to say that, but you need to stand together. If over 90% of you guys feel that what's being done is wrong, you have more power than you think. I encourage you to stand up together and walk away. Things will tumble. So God bless all of you guys. Thank you, James, for the opportunity.
What an amazing comment. What's your name? What's your first name?
It's Amy.
Amy, I couldn't have said it any more eloquently. You all Border Patrol agents out there, we've heard from 2, Tom today, last week, a person that I cannot name who currently works in the Border Patrol and is feeding me information. At what point does it get to the point where you are not only participating in evil, but you are evil? Because you need your paycheck and the pension. And you need the paycheck and the pension, you're just doing your job. At what point do you become evil? These people, 1 in 10 are being raped or killed, or maybe even 2 in 10. So 1 in 5 raped or killed. So at a certain point, you guys have got to band together, and that's what we're going to empower you to do. Sources and insiders gave us the information that brought what you saw and heard today in the latest video. If you work for the airlines, the bus companies, the government, nonprofits, you have confidential information, we will go to jail to protect you. If the United States Supreme Court were to order me to reveal my source, I would tell the honor, you are in error, sir. Please contact us, tips.o'keefemediagroup.com, or on Signal at 914-315-9415. That's 914-315-9415. Thank you to Tom. Thanks to our guests. Thank you for joining us on The Inside, where you can hear from whistleblowers and insiders live. Thanks to Elon Musk, on the air every Wednesday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern here on X. Join us next week. You won't want to miss what we caught on tape next. Some undercover dates in action here in the nation's capital, in California, in Miami, Florida. We're undercover across the dinner table, across the lunch table from an unwitting whistleblower. Stay tuned next week. See you, everyone.